And I looked to the left and I see flames all over the windows. And then after a while, they finally opened the doors and everyone ran. I remember looking back and just seeing this plane I just sat on completely destroyed by fires.
A Japanese passenger jet burst into flames after colliding with another plane in Tokyo. All 367 passengers and 12 crew members aboard made it out safely, but 5 others on the second plane who were on their way to help with earthquake relief, they were killed. I'm Ellison Barber in for Gadi Schwartz, and this is Stay Tuned Now. Japan's Transportation Safety Board is investigating exactly what caused the crash between the 2 aircrafts. Cameras caught the moment it all happened. Japanese Airlines Flight 516 was cleared to land and entered the runway space when it collided with the Coast Guard aircraft. The 5 people aboard that plane died. That Coast Guard plane, it was carrying aid for the thousands of people affected by yesterday's earthquakes. As scary as the fiery crash looked from the outside, video recorded by passengers inside shows it was even more terrifying. Smoke filled the cabin and flames could be seen beginning to bellow outside the windows. You can hear one child yelling, "Let us get out quickly." Passengers and crew evacuated within minutes, all making it out safely, thanks in part to calm flight attendants, skill, and a little bit of luck.
自分たちがみんな降りた10分後ぐらいに爆発音上がってたんで、あと少し遅かったら危なかったなぐらいですね。なんでこうなっちゃったのかっていうのはまず一番最初に知りたいですよね。あととりあえずは飛行機乗りたくないなって感じですかね。
NBC News correspondent Tom Costello picks up the story.
Fire and terror on the runway in Tokyo as a fully loaded Japan Airlines passenger plane arriving on a domestic flight crashed into a smaller Japanese Coast Guard plane. The massive fireball rolling down the runway.
Airport is closed. Airport is closed.
Inside the JAL plane, terrified passengers saw flames outside their windows, smoke rolling through the cabin. Swedish tourist Anton Deva was on board with his family.
I looked to the left and I see flames all over the windows. And the plane starts to shake and all the lights turn dark and everyone starts screaming in Japanese.
Once stopped, passengers evacuated down 2 emergency chutes. As airport firefighters attacked the flames, the plane's tail collapsed to the ground. Exactly the kind of worst-case runway incursion the NTSB has warned about in the U.S. after so many close calls in 2023. The crash happened on runway 34 right, precisely where the JAL Airbus A350 had been cleared to land. The question for Japanese investigators, why was that smaller Coast Guard plane on the same runway, possibly preparing for takeoff? Of the 6 Coast Guard crew members on an earthquake relief mission, only the captain survived, now in critical condition. But all 379 people on board the passenger plane survived, including 8 infants, precisely what flight crews in the U.S. and abroad train for. Regardless of the size of the aircraft, the FAA requires that within 15 seconds of the aircraft stopping for an accident, it must be able to start evacuating everybody out through the windows, through the doors, in just 90 seconds. That FAA rule is the global standard.
Get up, get out, leave everything!
Critical to surviving, leaving everything behind and getting out. When an American Airlines plane caught fire in Chicago in 2016, some passengers still grabbed their carry-ons.
When passengers do not follow the instructions and do not leave their belongings in the airplane, they're not only putting themselves at risk, they're putting others at risk because they're blocking exits.
In Tokyo, tragedy, but survival on the runway. French investigators are now joining the Japanese because this is an Airbus jet. The French team will be assisting. They'll look at whether there was a communication breakdown between the tower and the Coast Guard plane and whether the passenger jet pilots could even see that smaller plane on the runway. Ellison?
Tom Costello, thank you. As we mentioned, the Japanese Coast Guard plane involved in that crash was carrying much-needed aid for the western part of the island that was struck by deadly earthquakes just yesterday. It's a race against time right now to find survivors who might be trapped underneath destroyed homes and buildings. At least 62 people have died so far. Dozens are hurt and thousands more are displaced. Water, power, and cell service are still down in some areas. Just take a look at what the force of those quakes did to this neighborhood in Wajima. You see the before picture on the left, and on the right, rubble and smoke. All the destruction is making it harder for aid to get through, with so many roads damaged that officials might have to consider delivering supplies by boat. Sky News correspondent Helen Ann Smith has more from the epicenter.
This place is now hard to reach any other way than by air. And it is by air that the worst of what's happened here is revealed. This is the northern end of Ishikawa Prefecture, now smouldering, smashed, people's lives uprooted and scattered. This place has experienced over 100 quakes in just over a day, the largest measuring 7.6. You can hear the sheer terror that gripped people as their world shook beneath them. It hit a remote part of this country. The journey to get there is long. But it takes us along a coastline, the whole of which was affected. Tsunami warnings here sent residents fleeing. Most have not yet returned. Your house here? Mitsugu Teresta is an exception. He's 90. This is the first time he's had to evacuate. This was the biggest alert in my lifetime, he says, so I thought maybe it's really coming. Even by night, the damage is dramatic. In the city of Kanazawa, whole houses toppled, totaling the cars that once stood beside them. And it is here we meet Ochiro Hotta, a neighbour come to gaze at the damage and reflect on his own lucky escape.
I couldn't stand up inside my home. I ducked under the table, then sat and waited. I was very, very scared. I've never felt that way. I thought I would die. I thought it's the end.
Japan is used to earthquakes, and its infrastructure, its buildings are usually pretty good at withstanding them. But have a look at this. It shows you just how strong this quake was. Whole houses leveled. This road has just completely collapsed. And here, we're still around 150 kilometers away from where the epicenter was. The priority now is reaching those who are stranded. Hard when major link roads are damaged and closed. And a huge challenge for those trying to help. Yoshi's van is filled with water, food and warm clothes. He's worried about the cold and a community hard hit by quakes in the past.
Why in this area? I can't. Yesterday they said.
The local people said, why us?
Yes,
why us again?
Yes.
Oh, so these people have suffered a lot already?
Yes.
Yeah. Japan's infrastructure and warning systems are world-class. It's why death tolls here often stay low. But this level of damage is still a remarkable thing. The pain here is not yet over. Helen Ann Smith, Sky News in Ishikawa Prefecture, Western Japan.
A senior member of Hamas has been killed in Beirut, Lebanon today. Salah al-Arui, the group's second in command, and several others died after a drone struck near a suburb of the Lebanese city today. 2 Hamas military commanders have also reportedly died. Hamas, Lebanon, and Iran have accused Israel of carrying out the strike. The Israeli military has not responded to NBC News' request for comment, but Lebanon's prime minister is accusing Israel of trying to, quote, bring Lebanon into a new phase of confrontations. Israel and Hezbollah have been exchanging fire across their shared border since the war began. Israel pushed back a highly anticipated cabinet meeting following the accusations. They were expected to discuss what a post-Hamas Gaza might look like. NBC News foreign correspondent Josh Lederman has more.
Hamas says that its #2 leader and a founder of its militant wing has been assassinated in Beirut. Hamas saying that an Israeli drone strike conducted that assassination, which it says killed 7 of its people, including 2 commanders. Now, Israel's government is being fairly coy about this incident. They won't say whether or not they were behind it, but Israel's leadership has long vowed to hunt down Hamas leaders anywhere in the world and to kill them, saying that those Hamas officials are living on borrowed time. Lebanon's government says that Israel seems to be pulling Lebanon into a war, and there are massive fears right now about significant retaliation, not just from Hamas, but also from Hezbollah, another militant group that's actually based in Lebanon that has also been allied with Hamas in its support for the Palestinian cause. There have been protests throughout the West Bank, and there are promises from Palestinian factions that tomorrow we'll see even more significant protests and what they are calling revolutionary actions to oppose what they say was this killing by the Israeli government. This is we are learning more about Israel's potential plans for the Gaza Strip after the war, with an Israeli official telling me that Israel foresees maintaining security control of the Gaza Strip indefinitely, but wants to see local clans or tribes in Gaza administer the basic civilian functions of government there, such as doling out humanitarian aid. We are also seeing these tensions continue to spread throughout the region, with the Houthis in Yemen tonight threatening retaliation and punishment against the U.S. government for its actions to protect shipping in the Red Sea, and Israel confirming that today it struck the Syrian army inside Syria after it says that there was shooting coming from Syria into Israel. The Israeli government tonight saying it will continue to shoot back at anyone who fires into Israel.
Josh Letterman, thank you. In Utah, a Chinese exchange student has been rescued after falling victim to what police are calling a disturbing criminal trend of cyber kidnapping. 17-year-old Kai Zhang was found alone in a tent in the freezing mountains on Sunday. Cameras captured the moment he was found after an extensive manhunt. How he ended up there, that is still unclear. But his parents, who are back in China, reported his kidnapping to his high school in Utah last week. They also reportedly wired $80,000 to his alleged captors after receiving photos that seemed to show he was in danger. Let's bring in NBC News correspondent Liz Kreutz for more on this. So, Liz, this is an odd story, really, from beginning to end. Break this down for us. What do we know right now, and how on earth did this unfold?
Yeah, Allison, it's a pretty crazy and terrifying story, frankly. Thankfully, this young man, Kai, is now back in China and with his family and safe. But officials say that they believe that these cyber kidnappers had been controlling and manipulating him for weeks. Back on December 20th, police say they first encountered Kai with camping gear. They thought it was suspicious. They said they ended up helping him get back to his host family outside of Salt Lake City. But then on December 28th, about a week later, that is when his family in China reported him missing. They had been sent photos that made it look like he was abducted. And at that point, they had already sent $80,000 in ransom money. At that point, police began their search for him. They realized this was a cyber kidnapping hoax. They were able to use cell phones to track where he may be. And that's where they found him, then alone, cold, scared, holed up alone in a tent in the frigid Utah mountains. They say he was so relieved to be found, happy he was able to reunite with his family, and he is safe. But a really scary incident, Allison.
Yeah, I mean, Liz, do police have any idea who the possible suspects are here? I mean, are they even in this country?
Right. So police there in Utah tell us that it's believed that in this specific case, the cyber kidnappers are based in China. They were communicating using Chinese cell phones, and the family was sending money through Chinese bank accounts and wiring. So that's all we know right now. I asked police if they have any more details. They said really at this point, it's up to the U.S. Embassy in China, the FBI, to figure out more about who these folks are and whether or not the family can get any of their money back at this point.
So, Liz, police are claiming Chinese foreign exchange students in particular are increasingly being targeted in these cyber kidnapping schemes. What is cyber kidnapping more broadly? I think we have the two words, and it kind of makes sense on paper, but it's also so new and so odd. So what exactly is it, and why do police believe that Chinese exchange students in particular are being targeted here?
Yeah, it's a really unusual case, this one, a very extreme case, but officials do say that this is something that has happened and continues to happen. They say that it actually really is something they originally saw over the years happening in Mexico. Now it's expanding more broadly. This is a case now out of China. And really what happens is they'll target people, like a lot of cyber scams, who are vulnerable. Maybe that's elderly people, or here officials are saying often foreign exchange students who are away from their family, maybe don't speak the language, language, are scared to go to officials. That is why foreign exchange students are often targeted in this specific case, and officials are saying it can happen. They'll really ask the victim to go to an isolated area. That's why he ended up going to this remote part of the mountains. The idea being that the longer they can keep the victim away from police, away from their family, the more money they might be able to extort. But officials really say if you want to be careful, make sure it doesn't happen to you or your child, that you should maybe have code words with your child or loved one to know if someone's in duress or okay. And also if you are contacted to just alert police right away and not send any money, Allison.
All right, NBC News correspondent Liz Kreutz, thank you. Don't go anywhere because we are just getting started. Up next, the FBI is looking into a deadly crash that turned into a massive explosion in New York. We have those details. Plus, a winter storm is getting ready to blanket parts of the East Coast with snow and rain. Your forecast is coming up. And police, they are looking into a rape, but it all unfolded online in the Metaverse. So what does an investigation like this even look like? That's all just ahead, so stay tuned. Welcome back. Here are some of the other headlines we're watching tonight. Today, the Biden administration asked the Supreme Court to allow Border Patrol to cut through wire that Texas Governor Greg Abbott installed to try and prevent illegal border crossings. They say that the wire prevents agents from reaching migrants who have already crossed the border. In the court filing, the Solicitor General argues that Border Patrol agents have authority under federal law to access private land, and Texas cannot stop them from carrying out those duties. U.S. Senator Bob Menendez is in hot water yet again, this time facing new allegations that say Menendez made positive statements about Qatar to help a New Jersey developer receive a multi-million-dollar investment. The developer, Fred Davies, has also been charged in the case. They both have pled not guilty. Two men have been charged with hate crimes in connection with the beating of two LGBTQ+ women in Miami, Florida. The assault took place back in November. Video seems to show the men attacking the two women, one of whom might need surgery now. The other lost consciousness during the attack. If the men are convicted, they could face up to 15 years in prison. Those are sentences for each of the felony counts against them. Sherelle Parker made history today. The former Philadelphia councilwoman became the city's 100th mayor. She is also the first woman to hold the job. Today, her administration released an outline of what she hopes to accomplish in her first 100 days of office. And someone in Michigan is starting off their new year a whole lot richer, $842 million richer, to be exact. That's where the winning ticket for the fifth largest Powerball jackpot was sold. It was purchased at a Food Castle supermarket. The ticket is worth $425 million in cash. Police in upstate New York are still trying to piece together a motive after a man rammed his car into another car outside of a concert venue in Rochester, killing two people and leaving multiple others hurt. The suspect, identified by police as 35-year-old Michael Avery, died at a hospital after sustaining injuries in the crash. Police say he had gas cans loaded in his SUV when he accelerated toward a crosswalk full of people. That's when they say he struck another car pulling out of a parking lot, leading to an explosion and large fire. So far, police have ruled out terrorism, but they are asking for the public's help as they try to piece together a motive. NBC News correspondent Emily Ikeda has the latest.
Tonight, new details emerging about what led to this fiery crash in Rochester, New York, less than an hour into the new year.
Massive accident, multiple pedestrians struck.
Investigators now identifying 35-year-old Michael Avery, saying he made at least half a dozen purchases of gasoline and fuel containers after driving to Rochester and then renting an SUV at the airport, later heading towards the Kodak Center and a crowd coming out of a concert.
Avery sped up, crossed into the oncoming lane of traffic, and appears to have intentionally been driving towards the pedestrian crossing.
Avery then struck a rideshare vehicle that had been pulling out with a force that pushed both SUVs into people, killing two passengers in the rideshare and injuring 9 pedestrians, according to police. This tonight from Rochester's mayor.
I have been getting inundated with questions as to why this individual would choose, number one, Rochester, New York, and why he would appear to target concert goers. Those are all questions that have been raised and things that we just don't have answers to yet.
As investigators comb through Avery's belongings, the FBI is underscoring.
So far, we've uncovered no evidence of an ideology
and no nexus to terrorism.
Well, there's no clear motive right now. Police say in speaking with Avery's family, they believe he may have been suffering from undiagnosed mental illness. He died in the hospital overnight.
Emilia Keta, thank you. Today, a big storm system is hitting the West Coast. It's bringing rain and heavy snow to areas from Northern California up through Washington state, and it's set to move across the country this week, putting millions along the I-95 corridor at risk for snowfall heading into the weekend. NBC News meteorologist Bill Cairns is tracking the storm. Hey, Bill.
Well, good evening to you and a happy new year to you also, Allison. And all the talk is about what this winter storm will do. We just haven't had many winter weather events so far this season, and this one has some potential. This is not a huge blockbuster storm by any means, but some people haven't seen any snow at all, which is very rare for now getting into the first week of January. So winter storm warnings are up for the Sierra. That's where we expect the snow to be later on tonight. Tomorrow we take some of the lighter amounts of snow towards the Grand Canyon and Flagstaff, towards Pine Top. And then northern portions of New Mexico will get some snow as we go throughout. It looks like probably maybe more late Wednesday night, and then Thursday will be the timing here in this region of the country. So the storm currently is as we head through off the West Coast. This is where we're seeing the snow at highest of elevations. This storm will begin to move inland as we go throughout the overnight hours. Already has spread a little bit of rain. It's not a huge event, no big huge waves like we saw over the holidays, and the snow is at pretty high levels. So by the time we get through Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening, that's when we start to watch the storm system progressing in towards the Four Corner region. That's when we get the snow in Arizona, a little bit in southern Utah. Not a big deal. I know the skiers would love a lot, but you're not going to get it this time. Again, light snowfall amounts in the southern mountains of Colorado, the San Juan Mountains there, a little bit south of Denver around Pueblo, and then definitely northern Amarillo. But again, this isn't huge impacts. Even driving Interstate 25 won't be all that bad. By the time we get to Friday, this storm dives to the south. We will get a little bit of light snow Thursday night, areas like Wichita, Kansas. Then it's just all rain. It's too warm in the south to get snow with this storm system. But as the storm slides towards the east coast on Saturday, the northern edge of this will have enough cold air for snow. It looks marginal in areas of Kentucky, southern Ohio, but definitely the higher elevations here of West Virginia, especially northern Virginia, and all areas of Pennsylvania besides Philadelphia have a good chance of getting a plowable snow from this event. You notice the green is the rain. Looks like areas like Washington, D.C. and Baltimore, maybe even Philadelphia, probably going from snow over to rain. But we'll pinpoint that in the days ahead. So we take our blend of all of our computer models just to give us a rough draft of kind of where we think the snow is going to fall over the next 6 to 7 days. And you can see it here on the map. There's the higher elevations, obviously, in areas of the west. There's that snow I mentioned in Kansas, maybe a little light stuff through areas of Missouri and also through the Great Lakes. But it looks like potential for some significant amounts of snow in areas that haven't seen a lot of snow in a long time. But this is mostly I-95 and inland, not towards the coast. Coastal areas, it looks like rain, snow, hardly any accumulations whatsoever. And this has been a huge snow drought. The record snow drought continues for all areas of the Northeast. We've had zero snow. Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York. Other areas have had a little bit of snow, but compared to normal, it's just been a really bad winter so far for snowfall, Allison. Will this one be the one? Not necessarily for D.C. and Philly, but we still got our fingers crossed in the New York City area. We'll fine-tune that forecast throughout the rest of this week.
All right, Bill Cairns, thank you. Coming up, Harvard's president is out of a job after plagiarism allegations and controversial comments on anti-Semitism. We have those details, but first, you gotta see this. The UK's Chester Zoo has released the first video debuting the birth of one of the world's rarest and most threatened primates, a cockerel shift-off lemur, also known as the dancing lemur because of the unique way they move. They jump up to 20 feet high and bounce from spot to spot, often with their arms in the air. Some people might say they like to move it. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Here are some of the stories happening out west that we're following. In Denver, an armed man broke into Colorado's Supreme Court building. It happened overnight. Police say Brandon Olson forcibly took keys from a security guard, got inside, then fired shots throughout the building. He also allegedly started a fire in a stairwell. Olson eventually surrendered. Officials say no one was hurt, but he caused fairly extensive damage in the building. Former NBA minor league player Chance Comanche appeared in a Las Vegas courtroom today. He's accused, along with his ex-girlfriend, of killing a woman whose body was found last month in Nevada. Comanche played for the Stockton Kings before his arrest in Sacramento. The Kings have since dropped him from the team. His preliminary hearing is set for February 8th. In Los Angeles yesterday, a car chase took a pretty interesting turn. Police originally responded to reports of a suspected DUI driver who was possibly armed. But at some point, they decided to fall back on the pursuit. That's when the driver decided to make a pit stop and get some gas. They restarted the chase, eventually getting the driver to surrender on the 60 freeway. Turning now to the 2024 election, we're less than 2 weeks out from the start of the presidential primary season. And today, former President Donald Trump appealed a ruling in the state of Maine that bars him from being on their primary ballot. NBC News senior Capitol Hill correspondent Garrett Haake is following the Republican frontrunner's legal battles in several states. Garrett, what more can you tell us?
Mr. Trump's appeal calls Maine's Democratic Secretary of State, who banned him from the ballot, they're biased, saying she had no authority to act. Last week, she ruled the Republican frontrunner ineligible for Maine's ballot, saying he was in violation of the 14th Amendment's prohibition against insurrection for his actions on January 6th. Tensions are also high in Colorado, where the Supreme Court banned Mr. Trump from the ballot, though today police say a shooting that damaged the Colorado Supreme Court building this morning was unrelated to any threats against the judges there. Mr. Trump is expected to appeal that decision, too, which his campaign has criticized as election interference. Colorado Secretary of State is also asking for the U.S. Supreme Court to settle all of this. Mr. Trump will remain on both states' ballots through the appeals process.
That was senior Capitol Hill correspondent Garrett Haake. Thank you. Harvard President Claudine Gay is officially stepping down. She made the announcement earlier today in a letter following weeks of controversy and criticism surrounding the university's handling of anti-Semitism on campus and also allegations of plagiarism in Gay's academic work. Today's announcement drawing mixed reactions.
That there was definitely among students a lot of frustration around what was perceived as a double standard, with her kind of receiving a second chance on a plagiarism accusation that students could, be suspended for.
I think this is just very much about outside influence and the way that it's really pressuring, and that's just deeply problematic.
Harvard Provost Alan Garber will now step in as interim president as the search for a permanent replacement gets underway. NBC News correspondent Aaron McLaughlin has more.
Tonight, embattled Harvard President Claudine Gay stepping down, abruptly ending her turbulent 6-month tenure as the institution's first black president, the shortest term of anyone in that position. In a letter to the Harvard community, Gay writing, "It has become clear that it is in the best interest of Harvard for me to resign, and that it has been distressing to have doubt cast on my commitments to confronting hate and to upholding scholarly rigor, two bedrock values that are fundamental to who I am, and frightening to be subjected to personal attacks and threats fueled by racial animus."
Anti-Semitic rhetoric, when it crosses into conduct that amounts to bullying.
Calls for Gay's resignation followed backlash to this response at last month's congressional hearing, when Republican Elise Stefanik pressed her about anti-Semitism on college campuses.
Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment, yes or no?
It can be, depending on the context.
It does not depend on the context. The answer is yes.
Pressure grew in the following weeks, with Gay facing multiple allegations of plagiarism in her academic work. Harvard initially standing by Gay, but today the board accepting her resignation, saying she had acknowledged missteps, but also faced deeply personal and sustained attacks. Tonight, Stefanik claiming credit, saying this is just the beginning of what will be the greatest scandal of any college or university in history. Gay's resignation leaving the campus divided.
I'm glad that, it seems like we're moving in a direction where Harvard might begin to repair its public image.
I was flabbergasted. I was more than surprised. I was shocked. I don't think she was really given a chance from the start.
Still to come. We have a lot of news to get to, starting with an attempted assassination in South Korea. We have those details, plus other stories trending around the world, so stay tuned. Welcome back. Let's take a quick look around the world. Russian President Vladimir Putin promised to keep up his bombardment of Ukraine after an attack on the Russian territory yesterday. Today, he seemed to make good on that promise. This morning, Russian missiles and drones rained down on the capital city of Kyiv, killing at least 5 people and injuring more than 100 others. Ukrainian officials suggest this might be the start of another Russian air campaign against critical infrastructure. The leader of South Korea's main opposition party has been stabbed in the neck. It happened this morning in the port city of Busan. Police say the suspect is a 66-year-old man who had asked the party leader for an autograph. He has since been arrested and now faces a possible attempted murder charge. A spokesperson for the opposition party says the leader who was stabbed, he is now recovering from surgery. Hong Kong media executive and activist Jimmy Lai has pleaded not guilty to national security charges. He's being accused of working with Americans and other foreign states to undermine Hong Kong's interests. He was arrested under a relatively new law that was put in place by China aimed at crushing opposition. Both the U.S. and British governments have denounced the charges against Lai. He faces life in prison if convicted. And a Spanish man in prison in Iran for more than a year has returned home today. Santiago Sanchez was arrested by Iranian officers in 2022 on espionage charges. He was walking from Spain to Qatar to support Spain's national team in the World Cup when he stopped in Iran to visit the burial site of Masha Amini. That is the Kurdish Iranian woman who died while in custody of Iran's morality police back in September of 2022. Iran's embassy to Spain announced his release yesterday. So it is official. We're in a presidential election year, but globally, we're far from the only ones. In fact, more than half of the world's population will be in a country hosting a nationwide election. It's leading some to say that democracy itself is on the ballot. NBC News foreign correspondent Matt Bradley looks ahead.
I will prevent World War III.
2024 will be a bumper year for elections. And not just in the U.S. More than half the world's population live in countries that will hold nationwide voting this year. It could be the largest expression of democracy in human history. But if democracy is on the march, autocracy appears to be striding right beside it.
We're seeing all these elections in 2024. Is democracy also on the ballot?
Democracy is on the ballot. In fact, you have this paradox that defines global democracy right now, which is that you have more elections than ever before in human history, and yet the world is becoming less democratic year on year.
Some elections, like in Russia, Bangladesh, Mexico, and Pakistan, will be held in countries where international monitors say the elections could be compromised, or they simply won't carry much political weight. Africa will be the continent with the most elections, but countries there suffered 9 coups in just 3 years. And in some of the biggest votes, like in the US, India, and Indonesia, rights groups say voters will be asked to choose between democracy or what some are calling a kind of creeping authoritarianism.
You have a decline of democracy even as people go through the sort of charade of voting, and that is becoming the norm for a lot of countries around the world. But you also have it on the ballot because the U.S., which is the global bastion of democracy, the most powerful democracy in the world, has effectively an authoritarian candidate in Donald Trump going up against a mainstream pro-democracy candidate in Joe Biden.
But poorly run elections can damage more than just the results. They can also defame democracy, diminishing its appeal to the very voters it's supposed to represent.
The problem with that is when people go into fake democracies and believe that's what democracy actually is, they start to lose faith in it.
That democratic disillusionment may already be happening. A 2020 Cambridge University study, which drew on surveys of 4.8 million people worldwide over nearly 50 years, said young people have become steadily more dissatisfied with democracy.
Britain is among a number of European countries that are going to be having elections, and they all face one issue that's going to challenge elections throughout the world.
Just last month, the UK accused Russian intelligence of trying to interfere in the upcoming parliamentary elections, using tactics like spear phishing to target top officials and leak secret documents, a charge Moscow denied.
This is a dangerous time.
Artificial intelligence is already mimicking prominent politicians. Just last summer, hackers created a fake speech showing Russian President Vladimir Putin calling for a mass troop mobilization. And a report last month from research firm Graphica revealed hundreds of fake social media accounts promoting pro-China candidates ahead of Taiwan's vote this year.
The possibility of undermining elections by calling to question otherwise well-run elections through the use of false narratives is certainly a challenge.
But just like with other unfree or fraudulent elections held by autocrats, rampant misinformation and manipulation doesn't just skew elections. It sows a general sense of uncertainty, which also dents democracy's reputation. That could turn what should be an abundant year for voting into the start of its slump.
NBC News foreign correspondent Matt Bradley, thank you. Before we go, it is time for the future of everything. Police are investigating a rape, but get this, nothing physical happened. It actually all went down in the Metaverse. So how is something like this investigated, and is this just the beginning for cases like this? We'll break it all down next, so stay tuned. Police are investigating a crime in a cyberspace. Those details are coming up in the future of everything. But first, check this out. The world's first fully autonomous AI restaurant. It's opened up in Pasadena, California. They call it Cali Express, and the food will be made by state-of-the-art robo-chefs. The menu is mostly hamburgers, cheeseburgers, and fries, but the robots will not only grill the burgers, they'll grind the meat. And if it looks like there are a lot of Teslas on the road, that is probably not your imagination. The company delivered a record number of electric vehicles in the fourth quarter of 2023. We're talking almost 500,000. Tesla says it sold nearly 2 million cars last year, especially after slashing prices. Police in the United Kingdom are investigating an alleged rape in the Metaverse, Meta's virtual reality world, after a teenager's avatar was attacked in a virtual reality game. The girl, who is under the age of 16, was gang raped by a group of adult men in an online room. Meta responded to the allegations, saying that that kind of behavior has no place on their platform, and explained they have a personal boundary feature that keeps strangers a few feet away. Facebook launched the Metaverse over 2 years ago, with CEO Mark Zuckerberg sharing his goal for it. Remember this?
We believe the Metaverse will be the successor to the mobile internet. We'll be able to feel present, like we're right there with people, no matter how far apart we actually are.
It's designed to be completely immersive. While there was no physical attack, officers say the girl is traumatized from the experience. And this is not the first time this has happened. Reports of women and girls being sexually assaulted and harassed in virtual reality spaces are racking up, with 49% of female users experiencing harassment in virtual reality. This case looks like the first time that an actual prosecution could happen, raising many questions about the current legislation in place when it comes to sexual assault in a virtual landscape. Joining me now is NBC News terrorism analyst and former ATF special agent Jim Kavanaugh. Jim, thanks for joining us. So this is an interesting case, right? Because there are multiple layers. You think of this young girl wearing a headset, feeling like she is completely in this space and being assaulted. I mean, you can understand why that would be traumatizing, why she would feel completely violated, even if she wasn't physically touched, right? But from a legal standpoint and from a law enforcement standpoint, how do you see this playing out? I mean, how do you prosecute a crime that happened in a virtual space? Is it even a crime if the current legislation doesn't touch on it?
It's going to be very difficult if that crime were to happen in the U.S. Prosecutors would try to make the law fit, to prosecute someone responsible, Ellison. It's really horrible. I mean, this is a 16-year-old girl, and she's been traumatized, and she's suffering just like if she was actually raped. I'm sure you've worn those headsets. I've tried them out. I mean, they're astonishing. They're marvels of the digital age. But you do feel like you're in another world. I mean, that's the purpose of it. You feel like you're in a fantasy. You feel like you're somewhere else. You are someone else. So this really is where our legislators and lawmakers need to get ahead of this, to see this as coming. Here's a child, a juvenile, and, we can't let her be victimized. I would take it from if I was talking to the legislators, I would say, look at it as a threat. If someone took your picture and wrote on the picture, I'm going to rape you, and sent it to you, that's a threat of physical assault and rape. And so it's the same thing. It's a threat of physical assault and rape, and it should be treated that way.
So, Jim, what jurisdiction do you think something like this would fall under? I mean, we have seen cases over the years. One very high-profile case I'm thinking of where there was a very popular true crime doc on Netflix where there was a murder that was carried out in Canada, but people noticed videos suggesting a crime had occurred in the United States. And there was all this back and forth over how do you figure out where this person is so you know which agency should be dealing with investigating the crime. When you're in a situation like this in the metaverse, what jurisdiction would this even fall under if it was something that happened in the United States and something that, say, the FBI or local police needed to get involved? How would we figure that out?
Well, it's going to be tough. You have to start with your local police. It may be that the FBI has to get involved, or Homeland Security, because they have the Customs Service. But the problem here, Ellison, is the perpetrators of the crime on the girl in the UK, they could be anywhere in the world. They don't even have to be in the UK. So that makes the jurisdictional issues very complicated. Now, we all dealt with Interpol when I was an agent in charge, and we had Interpol reps on all over the world, and we had agents in Interpol, and we dealt with that. But it can be very cumbersome. So, you got to start at your home turf. And so what we need is legislatures in our country to protect our citizens first, and to say that, people doing these kind of things are crime. First, we got to protect the children, because they're going to gravitate toward these digital spaces, right away, and we need to protect them. But we need to protect all of us. So give the prosecutors and the agents something they can use, rather than trying to stretch the law or wrap it around like a pretzel to protect everybody. Here's a clear thing. Here's a clear example in the UK of how good legislation could help us in the future to protect people. And it's a good thing that Meta's saying they want you to keep, people in those spaces 2 feet apart. But that didn't prevent this case from happening. So they may need to take some even bigger steps.
All right, Jim Kavanaugh, thank you so much. We appreciate your time and insight as always. A new travel trend is saving people big money when it comes to vacations. NBC News correspondent Morgan Chesky has what you need to know about so-called travel dupes.
They're destinations we know and love. Venice, Paris, Tokyo, New York, just to name a few. They're beautiful and fun, as long as you don't mind the crowds or the cost, which is exactly what's fueling a new online travel trend.
Venice dupe, Barcelona dupe, Machu Picchu dupe.
Urging travelers to find their destination dupe or duplicate location.
If you like this, then you should try this. If you like this, you would love this.
It's got very, very expensive in the past couple of years.
Travel pro Casey Carr says for his clients on a budget, dupes can open a whole new world.
You're looking for similar weather, similar geography, so mountains for mountains or big cities for big cities.
In the Caribbean, move over St. Martin. U.S. flight searches to the island of Curacao exploded 200%. Sold on Sydney, Australia. Global searches for its dupe city of Perth topped 100%. And U.S. searches for Liverpool, England, a potential London dupe, spiked 138% over the last year.
I would want to have some savings to go to an alternate destination, though Liverpool versus London isn't really that far off. So
no Buckingham Palace, but you still get the Beatles.
Exactly. So there you go. That's great.
Travel dupes are really the best because not only are you saving a ton of money by going to a place that is maybe a little more undiscovered, but you're experiencing a whole maybe different culture.
But best friends and travel influencers Nikki Costa and Tiffany Shiro say with the potential savings comes responsibility.
Just be respectful, like it's not about you, and really just try to get to know the people there and the locals and understand their way of life. I think that's what travel is all about.
Just remember, not all dupes are created equal.
Montreal for Paris, France, yes.
Yes.
Paris, Texas for Paris, France.
No.
And for the die-hard bucket list travelers, the same rules still apply. The earlier, the better.
Like, we're going to New York to see the Today Show. I can't see the Today Show anywhere.
I did not tell her to say that, by the way.
There is only one New York City.
Morgan Chesky, NBC News.
A Missouri couple is celebrating a milestone anniversary this year. Just yesterday, Andrew and Bertha Kowalczyk celebrated 80 years of marriage. It's a rare milestone, also known as an oak anniversary. Andrew is 103 years old, and Bertha, his wife, who also goes by Bunny, is 102. And their wartime wedding story is truly one for the ages. Take a look. 80 years ago, the world seemed to be on fire. Adolf Hitler issued a proclamation vowing that this year, 1944, would be the year Nazi Germany's brutal war reached its climax. Andrew Kowalski was enlisted in the U.S. Navy and hopelessly smitten with Bertha, also known as Bunny.
He gave me a ring at Thanksgiving, but we weren't going to get married, not until after the war.
But war is unpredictable, and plans were forced to change.
He had gotten leave from his officer who said he had to be back on January 1st, but he said, well, I'm getting married. So he said, well, we'll make it January 3rd. They got married up in the New Hampshire, and it was like minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit that day.
6 months later, the Allies would storm the beaches of Normandy, beginning a weeks-long campaign against Nazi troops. Andrew survived the war and committed his life to Bunny. This New Year's Day, Andrew and Bunny, now 103 and 102 years old, are celebrating their 80th wedding anniversary. With well wishes from their 6 children and 15 grandkids and 16 great-grandkids.
We feel really lucky that they're still here and that they want to be together all the time. 80 years
is a long time.
A living reminder that sometimes love really can conquer all. That does it for us. I'm Ellison Barber. We'll see you tomorrow, but until then, stay tuned now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.